Hello, welcome to today's live weekly attorney chat. My name is Attorney Desiree Coker-Gustafson with Immigration for Couples. And if you are new to our Facebook page or new to this live weekly chat, we weekly come on here and discuss topics relevant to the immigration world, questions that we are hearing during consultations, our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. So that being said, if you are watching us live today, certainly if you have questions regarding what I'm going to talk about or anything really, you can comment in the comment section. If I see that in enough time, I will certainly deal with that question as we're on here. Or if you are watching this on replay, you can comment #replay and then put your question in there, and we will address it in maybe another episode of our weekly chats or an upcoming video. So today we are going to discuss the Freedom of Information Act and those requests, frequently just referred to as FOIAs. We get lots of questions about just people's information and not knowing exactly what is in their file. They're confused as to whether or not they've had a deportation, what that deportation or removal looks like. Is it voluntary? Did they leave on time? What is exactly in my immigration file when I entered and exited? So this is extremely relevant to the immigration world and to our practice. And so we regularly use FOIAs because it's really important when you are entering not only just an initial application, but also if you are entering an interview phase of any sort, to know what is USCIS seeing that's in my file. That will help us, help you combat any issues that may come up and sometimes alleviate a lot of processing time as well. For instance, if I recently had a consular processing case where a client and their spouse was attempting to process in another country, and little did they know that there was that could have been concluded to be a fraudulent or misrepresentation of sorts on an application. And so instead of waiting for the denial, processing that waiver, waiting for the waiver to process, we were able to be proactive in completing the waiver. And so that did knock some time off of what would have been a very lengthy wait. So that's just one example. So let's talk about FOIAs and what they are. So a FOIA really came about in the mid-90s, and it really just affirms an individual's right to their information, especially as it relates to public entities, public agencies. So really this law relates to any agency that has like public records or that has your information stored somewhere. But today we're just going to really focus on the immigration aspect of that. There's a lot of nuances to the Freedom of Information Act that really weren't intended necessarily with the original act. So the original act, you really just have to have a request in writing, and it has to be reasonably specific to the documents or information that you're looking for. So you can't just say, I want to request everything with my name on it. Although those requests can be honored depending on the agency or the organization that you're requesting that from. But it does in general need to be reasonably specific. Most of the time, the agencies then are allowed to kind of create their own processes for how you request your information. And so in the realm of immigration, this could be, you have lots of different agencies. You have ICE, you have CBP, you have USCIS, you have OBIM, you have EOIR, if you're talking immigration and removal. So all of those agencies kind of house specific information that you may need to be able to process forward and have some security in knowing what is being seen by that party, by the other side, essentially. And so that has led to some confusion as to the agency that you would need to submit your request to, but also what type of documentation do you need. Sometimes you can just submit a request online. Most of them are moving more towards an online system. It will give you a tracking number. You can then follow up on that tracking number. But more often than not, there are specific forms they want filled out, specific locations. And then a lot of times you have specific requirements within those forms. So for instance, for USCIS, you have to, as far as our purposes and us helping a client to submit a FOIA, we are requesting on behalf of someone else. So they want to ensure that that person is wanting that material to be released by USCIS. And so you have to get it notarized, and there's just some special hoops to jump through. So whatever agency you are submitting your request to, I would definitely look into what their specific requirements are and how long it takes them to get back those results. So of course, there are exceptions as to what they can release. So if it's, reasonably foreseeable that disclosure would be specified under some exemption or would be prohibited by law, those are reasons they would not completely reveal what is in the file. So they could black things out, redact things, or just not disclose them at all. There might be pages missing. So something to think about there as well, that you may not be getting all of the file. Or if you know that you were filed, your parents filed for you, it might behoove you to also list their names and have them consent to the release as well, so that things that were involved their name won't be redacted. So some thoughts with regards to that. They do specify timeframes in which you're supposed to receive results. But of course, if there's some sort of circumstance that would keep them from being able to release it in that amount of time, that they are given kind of a pass on that. So your wait time could vary quite greatly depending on the agency and how many requests they receive. So I hope this has been helpful. If you know of anyone who might be needing more information, certainly share our page. Also, immigrationforcouples.com. If you click on the resources tab, there's lots of other resources, videos, things of that nature to help you walk through that immigration process. I hope you all have a great day.